Hey guys, Chris and Alex here. We didn't mention at the beginning of this podcast that this is a traditional roundtable discussion where we go into a non-spoiler review, go into the credits, go into spoilers after that. So just want to give you a quick heads up. So I hope you guys enjoy our review of World of Warcraft. It's a surprising review for us.
I was needed for this?
You were needed for this.
Oh, okay. I'm glad I sat back down for this spiel.
Enjoy the show.
You've unlocked a Roundtable.
Hello, and welcome to Lost Levels Roundtable discussion of World of Warcraft. My name is Chris Levan. With me, as always, is Alex Sandberg.
Yeah.
Yeah. World of Warcraft.
Woot.
It's finally come out after how many years of production?
I lost count.
Yeah, it's been a while. We finally got to see it. This is a movie based on the very successful
Video game franchise.
Yeah, is it MMO?
Well, I mean, yes, it's the MMORPG, the massively multiplayer online RPG or role-playing game.
Oh, okay. We're getting technical now.
Based off the real-time strategy game of Warcraft, Warcraft 2, and Warcraft 3.
That everybody played 8 years ago. 9 years ago.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was everybody.
That was like the height of Warcraft popularity. World of Warcraft popularity.
Definitely. For the MMORPG.
Yeah, like I lost friends to that series. I refused actually to play it.
I gained weight to that series.
Yeah. I don't think you're the only one who has. That was when Mountain Dew and pizza rolls stock prices were through the roof, and a lot of people gained some weight during that time. But yeah, I lost friends.
Yeah.
I think I'm not the only one who lost friends when World of Warcraft came out because they decided that their whole entire life was World of Warcraft.
We've all seen that South Park episode, people.
Yeah, essentially that's I've had many friends like that. So for me, I refused to play that game because I knew that I would be very addicted to it. It's a very addictive style type of game.
It is because if I remember correctly, they brought in psychologists to do studies so they could find the most possibly addictive gameplay. Like, they studied on how to make it addictive.
No, absolutely. And very, very successful.
Very successful.
In that regard.
I quit cold turkey when my video card blew out, and I was just like...
It's like a nicotine addiction.
Exactly. I was like, well, I'm a poor college student living in an apartment. I don't have money for a new video card. I guess I'm just going to play old console games. And then I got my computer fixed and never reinstalled it.
Yeah,
and fuck, I'm so much better off for doing that.
Yeah, thankfully vaping wasn't a thing back then. Can you imagine like people quitting cold turkey and like turning to vaping?
Yeah, I can.
I'm like, oh man, that would have been horrible. Thankfully that was not alive back then. But anyways, so yeah, the movie comes out, I would say several years after the height of its popularity.
Oh yeah, I mean there's been so many MMORPGs coming out since that time that core group, while there's still I think there's still the diehards, they've all splintered off into other things, whether it be Knights of the Old Republic, or maybe they've gone to a arena battle type game like Dota or League of Legends or something.
Yeah, there's definitely new things to play since that, but I still think that they're still making a lot of.
Yeah, of course.
A decent amount of money off of that stuff. I mean, they obviously changed the structure throughout the years, where you can start off at different levels,
and I think you can play without a subscription now,
and it's less grindy as it used to be.
Right.
Trying to make it more available to the mass audiences, blah blah blah. But anyways, we're here to talk about the movie.
Yeah, that being said, after I watched this movie, I reinstalled the game on my computer, and this is the official announcement that we're ending Lost Level, because I have to, fuck man,
Shit, man.
I have to get all my perps. I need to get all my purple gear. Sorry to break it to you this way, Chris.
Yeah, this is live on the podcast.
No.
This hurts my feelings.
I kid.
I was kind of glad that you just mentioned a term, perps.
Yeah.
That I have no idea what the fuck you're saying. And
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much that's colloquial. I think it's just something me and Tyler would say.
And it's something that I don't know, and I'm thankful that I don't know.
Oh, that's okay.
But yeah, it's a movie, and there's war
and crafts.
And
no, there wasn't crafts.
No, there's some maging going on, I guess, if you want to do
like spellcrafting. Yeah, but not like, designing an old beat down chair to look all pretty and shit.
Yeah. So now this is obviously we've established now two different types of play. One person has played, one person has no fucking idea. Thankfully. So let's get into it. What did you think, like, story wise? What was the story here? Like, is this based on some of the stuff from the lore?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't pay much attention to the World of Warcraft story because when I started playing, I played with my friend Tyler and Terrell, and Tyler was playing for a long time before that, and he was like already level 40. So he was just running me through everything. He's like, talk to this guy, talk to this guy, talk to this guy, grab this quest. So I didn't actually read what any of the characters were saying or pay attention to the story. I just killed things and collected stuff and turned them in for quests, and I watched that experience bar go up and my level counter go up and me get stronger and me get more better gear.
More better gear?
More better gear.
Nice. Getting them perps.
Okay,
so what did you think of the story?
Conceptually, interesting. The execution of it, I think, is a little muddied because, which I keep finding with fantasy movies, is they just throw phrases and all these things at you, and they expect you to accept it whole cloth. Just like, yes, this is how the world is, without really explaining it. And I would like a little backstory on more of it.
You want a little bit of exposition?
Yes, like, for example, the big thing that everyone's talking about in this movie is called the Fell, and you never really quite understand what the Fell is.
True. I didn't. I picked up on it was some magic thing, and it was green.
Yes.
And that's pretty much all I knew about the Fell.
That's, you know just as much as I know about it.
Okay. Yeah, and they didn't try to explain it. You get the fact that, like, okay, the Fell's bad in this world.
The Fell's bad in general. It corrupts the users of it and kills stuff around it.
Okay. So, I guess I got that from watching the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not much else about it that I know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I recognize some of the main villain. Like, what class was he?
I think he was supposed to be a shaman.
Yeah, because...
But if I remember correctly, shamans were supposed to have an animal companion as well, which he did not have. So he could have just been a warlock? I think that's a class.
Is it? Okay, because
it's been so long, dude, I don't remember.
My buddy...
I think warlock.
I remember when Warcraft was, again, at its height, and I had a buddy who was playing a lot, and he played a very similar looking character. Mm-hmm. So I kind of, like, reacted when I saw him on screen, like, oh, that's the class that my buddy used to play. So that's how I kind of, like, related to him.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, he's a pretty cool spellcaster. That's cool. Orcs, and what's the difference between the green orcs and the gray ones?
I don't know. I don't remember there being a difference in the game when choosing race and class.
Okay.
But it's something they established in here, and it actually seems somewhat significant at some point. And that confused me as well.
That's why I kind of wanted to bring it up, because like at the beginning, the protector guy casts a spell and it only kills the green ones.
Right.
So I didn't know that he can cast like
And once again, that just goes back to me saying that it's a fantasy movie, and you're just supposed to accept what they tell you at whole cloth.
Okay. Yeah, and and that's basically what I had to do for a lot of this movie. At some parts, I'm like, is this turning into Seventh Son for me? It didn't explain very much. I'm just kind of just thrown into this world, and I'm dealing with a lot of content here that I'm trying to sort through as a non-user, a non experienced player, or and being new to the series. So by the end of it, I was like legit feeling like, man, did I just watch a trilogy of movies? Because it just felt like there was so much content thrown into this one movie that, like, what's going on? Like,
Exactly. Like, I kind of felt the same.
You have like the rise and fall of characters. You have like just a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff.
So like, there's
a lot to take in.
Yeah, like by the time the credits rolled, I was like, holy shit. I did feel like I watched a trilogy.
Yeah.
Because there was just so much stuff going on, and like, wow. I wish they would have spaced some of this out a little bit so I can get more story for individual plot threads that they wanted to establish.
Exactly.
Or tried to establish. Because there was some interesting stuff there.
Oh, totally.
And I was actually into some of it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I like these plot threads or where this is going. Okay, and then they switched to a different
Some of the plot threads actually took surprising turns, in my opinion. Like,
yeah.
I was like, this is not a Hollywood movie. The way this plays out is not something you expect from Hollywood. And I actually really like that about some of the plot twists in this. Or I wouldn't even say twist, but just the progression of it. It was very surprising and very shocking. And I'm like, this is actually kind of ballsy. I just wish that everything was played out cleaner. Because everything, it's just all, like I've been saying, it's just everything's just kind of thrown at you in this. And it's hard to take everything in. And it just gets a little muddied.
I 100% agree. I did like some of the directions that they turned because they were surprising.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I expected that very generic fantasy story played out with the World of Warcraft characters in that universe, and I was like, all right, oh shit, that happened. Like that was not expected.
Right, like this is like these are plot things that you expect from modern day TV. Like Game of Thrones or
spaced out through like 3 or 4 seasons.
Yes,
not in a 2.5 hour movie.
True.
Which would have been actually great if they would have done that. Spaced this out through like a season of TV and gotten to where they wanted to go at the end of the movie. Like that would have been a very satisfying season of a series. However,
there's no budget for a series like that.
Yeah, and well, shit. I mean, so much CGI. There's some. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's all condensed into a movie that wants to franchise itself and wants to establish itself, and it very well may. It's showing early numbers of being very positive. Like not in terms of review necessarily, but in terms of dollars, which is what Hollywood cares about. I mean, I told you a little tidbit saying Japan, the first 2 days that it was open there made 80 mil.
I think it's a 90 mil.
Or 80 or 90 mil, one of those, I can't remember at this point. But yeah, just 2 days, just bam. So like people are still wanting to see these movies. I know I went on my Twitter feed, several people saw it. Which I was like, wow, okay, there's still interest apparently.
Yeah.
And kind of surprised by that. You know, I went into this movie not expecting a full theater. We did receive a full theater. It was, and people sounded excited and into it. So like, I was surprised. One of the things that took me out of it right away was the main human character.
Okay.
He is the main Viking king in Vikings.
Okay.
And he plays that character. I know his name and I can't think of it right at the time of recording. I had it like throughout entire like my prep and everything like that.
Perfect.
And yeah, I get on the audio and I can't remember. But he's the main Viking King in the show Vikings, which we were talking about right before that, because I sent you pictures of one of the main actresses from that.
Who you want as Miss Marvel?
Who I definitely want as Miss Marvel. She is very attractive, has a black belt in real life. Awesome girl. She's amazing. I would love her as Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. Yeah.
We were talking about that, and then I didn't recognize him in the trailers.
Well, it took me a while to recognize the king.
Yeah. Well, I recognized him right away too.
Oh.
The first scene where they have like in the throne room is like you have the king. Obviously, we also have the girl from Preacher.
Right, that's right. You have two people from Preacher in here,
right?
Which is crazy.
Like right away, it's like, oh, okay, well, the Preacher cast is in this, and then then I had him. Oh, damn it! This is gonna piss me off. Anyways, so he's in it and he starts talking, and I'm like, holy shit! I didn't realize he was in this movie. I didn't recognize him from the trailers. He looks totally different. Anyways, he started talking, and then his mannerisms came through. And the way he talks, like the little short like pauses, like kind of facial reactions and weird stuff, he does that to a little bit of an exaggerated state in Vikings.
Okay.
And I thought that was an amazing thing that he was doing in Vikings, because it's like a period piece. And I felt like this is a new take on like how Vikings would kind of talk and interact, and kind of like he's out there. Like I loved that in Vikings, right? So I'm thinking like, oh man, he's doing an amazing job in this show. And then I watched. This is the first time I've seen him outside of that show.
Okay.
So then I see him and he's talking a little bit. Like he's doing the same very similar mannerisms. I'm like,
okay.
Oh man. So
similar
that was kind of
cadence and everything.
Yeah, very. The cadence is like there.
Okay.
And I'm just like really disappointed now, like
because
I thought he was like killing it as like this cool take on Vikings, and then no, that's just his acting.
Oh no,
that's how he acts. I'm like, oh damn it,
you ruined it for me.
So then it kind of it took me out for a moment. I'm like, damn it, I really like this dude on Vikings. But yeah, that took me out of it. But I quickly got back in. I was into it. I liked the orc stories. I liked how the orcs looked.
Oh god, everything visual, most everything visual about this movie is fantastic.
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah,
like just like costume design, like the suits of armor, soldiers are wearing and everything. They're so intricate and detailed, and just a lot of heart put into them. That it's just. This is visually great. And
you know what? The very beginning, when you have the orc versus the human one-on-one, and they're kind of scoring off and like looking at each other and trying to size each other up, and then they start running at each other, and you just, as they get closer, you realize just how much more massive, and how much more powerful those guys are versus a human. And that like set the tone for me. I'm like, these guys are formidable.
Oh yeah.
Like that little small scene, like I loved that. I'm like, holy shit, that was awesome. So then that really set it up really well for me, and there's definitely parts in here. I was like, yeah, that's not.
Oh, there are definitely some really cool parts in this movie.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. Well, like. We kind of went through what we can with the plot and saying how there's stuff there, but it needs to be cleaned up a bit and presented in a much neater package.
You know what we forgot to do? You're going to get discussed. It's about 18 and a half minutes in right now. We forgot to say...
Oh yeah, no spoilers at this point.
No, we're not talking spoilers. At the very end, after the credits, we do our spoiler section, so we're trying to keep it clean. Maybe I'll do a quick thing at the beginning. Anyways, but yeah, so we'll save the spoilers into the plot points till after our credits in our spoiler section. Okay, so that being said,
visually, I mean, I think it's great, as we touched on. I feel like some of the acting got sweaty at some points, especially the younger mage. I don't think that was strong casting.
I agree. I did not like him at all.
Yeah, he really took me out of it. He I don't know,
He has too much.
well, like down to his facial hair. I didn't even like his fucking facial hair.
He looked like a little boy,
Right?
And I did not feel like him as a mage. Like,
And I felt like we had such confused feelings towards that character as well at the beginning, because it's like, you're kind of looking at him like almost like he's some sort of dipshit or something. Like, he snuck into the barracks and he did this, and the other mage doesn't really like him and gives him shit. So it's like, are we supposed to like this character? Are we supposed to dislike this character? Like, I didn't know how we were supposed to feel about him, and it was weird for me to relate to him on any level.
yeah, and I agree. I think that he was one of the major problems with this movie. If he would have been cast better, it would have played differently, and I think I would have made it more believable for me. Then in the third act too, I'm just like, I don't believe this guy.
Right.
And we'll talk about that maybe a little bit more in the spoilers, but I agree 100%. What did you think of the half orc, Paula Patton or whatever?
I think it was. I thought it was an interesting character because it was a good device to bring the two separate worlds together. Mm-hmm. Considering they spoke separate languages, it was good to have that anchor between the two to commence the dialogue and to bring the story forward. Mm-hmm. Really interesting character. This strong female lead that's kicking ass. I'm not sure if I found the relationship between her and the main guy all that believable. I felt what they were trying to push upon us with that seemed a little rushed.
Yeah, something that could have definitely developed in a season-long thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that was definitely one of the shorter comings of the movie.
I mean, and I think that just ties to the biggest shortcoming of this movie is them just trying to pack a lot in such a short amount of time. And the movie was, like 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2.5 hours or something?
Probably. Yeah, at least.
So, I mean, it's not by any means a short movie, but it's so dense and it's hard to get everything that they wanted into that amount of time. Yeah.
Obviously, they had franchise in mind when they wrote this. I would have liked if they would have spaced it out a little bit too much, mm-hmm. or a little bit more, and not really focused in on trying to give you so much depth that they kind of faltered a little bit in some of those areas for sure. Mm-hmm. It's more like I can see their struggle. Because it's like, all right, we have this huge franchise. We want to.
It's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, they definitely have this thing where it's like, we want to make this as successful as possible. Video game movies don't tend to be very successful. We want to try to make this different. How do we make this rich in story as opposed to a very cookie cutter story or generic story, which you get in 90% of video game movies?
Exactly.
That people just kind of just like, whatever. And make it this interesting thing where we can make a franchise out of. So they had the weight of the world on their shoulders, and I wish they wouldn't have put so much heavy weight on themselves and kind of spaced it out to the point where they can develop more of that. Because, man, this would have been really, really interesting had it been a little bit, like, story drawn out. If
everything was fleshed out more.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So that being said, like, did you have any problems with like any of the acting, or like, did you believe the CGI characters? Did you?
Yeah, like those were relatable CGI characters. Like from the very first scene, like with him in the hut with his pregnant wife, like that was kind of touching, honestly. Like, I totally felt for them.
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree. Like, I think they were a little bit better off than Jar Jar Binks was.
Yes,
Um,
because
I, they had emotion.
they weren't caricatures. They were dealt with as real living people with emotions and
Yeah.
feelings
And
and souls.
it goes to show that, like, I think that we as a society are ready to accept looking at something that's not, human as displayed by a complete CGI character and make it believable. I'm like, yeah, okay,
Right.
I like these characters. So I was not affected by that. I thought they did a great job with it.
Totally.
I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to talk
I mean, I
about.
probably would have liked it less if they were people in makeup, to be honest, because I don't think you would have been able to get the range of what they were trying to portray.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, because people are hulking like that. You don't have, like, 50 people built like The Rock,
Right.
like, who can just throw some paint on them and they look like these huge bulky characters walking around. So yeah, they had to do that, and I think they pulled that off very successfully.
So yeah, very well.
What did you think of the different lands? I thought that they looked gorgeous.
Yeah, totally.
Different areas and
and having played the games, it's like, oh, seeing Stormwind fully realized, or the Forge fully, like okay, this is cool. I really like this, and so it was just nice to see a different, more fleshed out perspective of those places that I spent hours in. Yeah, I really liked the environments.
Okay. Before we go into final thoughts and then into the spoiler section, anything else you want to talk about?
No, not that I can think of.
All right. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts is, I'm actually surprised at how much I did enjoy this movie. As I've stated before, there are flaws, especially with how everything isn't fleshed out the way it should be. So it's like, for you to understand everything, I feel like you'd have to have multiple viewings, and even then, I question whether or not you would totally understand what happened and everything. But I mean, otherwise, this is a gorgeous fantasy movie that really does some interesting things with the story, and takes some surprising turns that I was actually really pretty satisfied with. So, and it's so gorgeous. I feel like you do have to see it on a big screen. I mean, not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to pay full price for it, but I mean, if you catch a matinee, or like a dollar theater or something, that's totally worth it.
Yeah, and I agree. Not knowing World of Warcraft or stories or anything or too much about it, aside from just watching people over their shoulder play throughout the years, or like Leroy Jenkins or
Leroy Jenkins,
or any of those stuff.
God, I would have lost my shit if they put like an Easter egg of that in there. I would have completely lost it.
Like just one of the Knights Guard or something like that, just being named Leroy.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere, like a nod to the head. But I was surprised. I went into this movie not expecting very much, being burned by so many different video game movies before it.
Right.
And how long this movie took to produce, and all of those behind the scenes stuff that went on with making this movie. I was disappointed only because they didn't give me much, as we talked about, of the lore, or the backstory, or any of that stuff. I'm left here trying to put pieces together, trying to understand a little bit of it. But what I did understand and what I did watch, I really enjoyed. I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. It made me sad because, like, when you talk about video games and like how, like, I'll use Halo as an example. You play the Halo games, and you get some of the lore, but you don't get all of it. Then you always have those people saying, "Oh, you got to read the books. The universe is amazing." So I kind of felt in that regard, it's like I'm missing something here
Right.
as a new viewer. Like there has to be more to this story that I'm only seeing a fraction of.
Totally.
And that's my disappointment with this movie. Some of the acting was, shoddy. Overall, worked as a story. And I was pleasantly surprised. And
Nice.
I would actually recommend seeing this, as you said. Gorgeous movie. Definitely see it on a big screen. Go see it on the matinee. Go see it in general. It's something that's interesting enough that I want to see more of. And the way that it's, the story that it's kind of set up here, I definitely want to see what's going on with it because I thought they did a good job of setting up more.
Oh, yeah. They did. I feel like they have a lot more planned for this.
Yeah. And if enough people agree with that sentiment and, enough people see it, they're like, okay, let's make some more of these movies. How long will it take to make these movies? I don't know because I'm sure that CGI struggle would be so massive.
Right.
Given what these orcs look like and the detail and the emotion that they convey and everything.
Well, hopefully they have a bunch of assets that they can reuse.
Hopefully.
This previous one.
Yeah, so that being said, I strangely recommend World of Warcraft. I was honestly going into it like, oh man, this is just something I'm going to shit on. And no, I'm not shitting on it. So why don't we go into our credits and then after that spoilers so we can get into some of these plot points that we've been kind of talking about here. So
okay,
how can I reach you?
You can follow me on Twitter. My name there is Alex Sandberg, AlexSanberg, or email me directly at the website alex@lostlevel.com. Chris, what about you?
I am on twitter.com/calmintensity. I'm on Instagram, Chris is Calm. And if you want to follow the website, it's lostlevel.com. In the upper right-hand corner is all of the links to our social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We'd really appreciate you guys subscribing to us on YouTube. All of that stuff, lostlevel.com, upper right-hand corner. We'd really appreciate it. So why don't we sign off here and get into spoilers?
Is it time for the spoilers?
It's the spoiler time.
Spoilers!
All right. So,
how ballsy was it to kill off the main orc?
surprising.
Right?
Very, very surprising for them to kill him off. He was a franchise character.
Yeah.
He's one of those characters. He's like the Ned Stark, I felt.
Yeah, I saw the wife. I could see that. I'm like, yeah, okay. Killing off the wife, that makes sense, more of a driving force for him, but killing him off? What?
Yeah. No, dude, 100% agree. I thought the wife would die for sure. He'd be left to take care of his son. And the wife dying being the turning point where he goes against that one dude and fights the one dude. But no, it didn't happen that way. And I was like, oh.
The wife doesn't go down without a fight also, which just makes me love the orc so much more. How she just pounces that guy and just rips his throat out with her teeth.
Yeah.
After getting stabbed. Oh, man. And how adorable was that orc baby? I want orc baby now.
Yeah, well, let's go hang out by a stream. Maybe one will...
When picked it up, and he was just like, rah! And he wanted to fight. I'm like, yeah, you go, orc baby.
Yeah, it was cute.
It was adorable.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of good things in this movie, which is weird for me to say. I still can't get over the fact that I just said I recommend it. It's just surprising to me. But, yeah, it takes a lot of risks in terms of not being a Hollywood trope. And definitely succeeds in those risks because it makes it interesting.
Yeah.
If it would have followed a black and white trope A to trope B to trope C type of movie, this would have been the Seventh Son movie that we watched and forgot about quickly.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it just is just riddled with cliches. But this isn't it. This isn't the case. This is, hey, look, we're making this movie. We're going to take our own risks. We're going to do our own things. We introduce these characters, and we're going to have it played out. And I really like the fact that the half-orc killed the king
to for the better good of the alliance.
Yeah.
Which, sounds crazy, but made sense. And it's like, and that just makes me wish that they explored and fleshed out the relationship between her and the main guy, because that is such a pivotal turning point for that relationship between them, where they've come to trust and admire each other, and I guess start to fall in love with each other, as it started to seem.
But they only have 2.5 hours to do all of
that.
All of this crazy arc that we're talking about right now.
And now just to suddenly have that relationship turn on a dime, and she having a good reason to do it for the Alliance, and him not getting it, and just suddenly having that distrust instilled again, was such a crazy turn. And nothing you would see from Hollywood. And it's definitely setting up more of a franchise, because they want to explore this even more, because it ends pretty abruptly.
That's the problem with this movie.
Yeah.
That the fact that they have to go into the stuff, and now it's going to be a part 2, hopefully, if it makes enough money.
It's going to make enough money.
And it carries on for them to warrant a part 2. I hate when movies do that sometimes. We're like, yeah, we're going to make enough for a part 2, and then they set it up that way, but they never ever get to make a part 2, because it's like, oh, well, we failed. We flopped.
Right.
So it's a ballsy thing to do without getting a green light for a sequel right away.
That's true.
But I really did wish that relationship developed, because that payoff is going to be awesome. And the payoff at the end of the movie was really strong. I felt like, oh shit, this makes sense, and I like the fact that they're doing it this way.
And just the noble sacrifice of the king. He's like, this is what has to happen. Like, we're not getting out of this alive. We're screwed. You have to end this.
Right.
And it's just, so powerful.
Yeah.
I really like that actor. I'm like him in
Dominic,
Preacher, yeah. And I liked him as Howard Stark, young Howard Stark.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was pleasantly surprised by a lot of this acting and story, and how badass was it when the main warrior guy goes off against that one guy who killed his son.
Oh, right.
And he finally gets his moment, and he just fucking
it's just very
him, like, so quick.
It's very like Achilles from Troy.
Yeah, that's what it made me think of. It's like, oh, okay.
But instead of going up, he went down.
That shit was like, oh, that was fast, and that's awesome.
Right.
So
it was pulled off really well.
And then the orcs have respect for him because of their code.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah,
and that code ended up being the downfall of the main shaman bad guy. And yes, I checked, it was a shaman. I was getting confused between shamans and druids. Druids have the pet companion.
Okay, so then definitely a shaman. There's definitely a lot of elements here that. What do you think of the mounts? Like, they had like the subtle use of mounts.
Oh, I like seeing them, but it kind of made me laugh because, well, the last things I did while playing World of Warcraft, the last thing I did was get a mount. And shortly after that, I stopped playing. It was like, you could only get a mount at level, I think it was like 40 or 50, and you needed like 100 gold, which was a lot.
I'm sure that's different now.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure you get a mount right away now.
Yeah, but thank you for playing. Here's your mount.
It was cool seeing them running around the mounts. But I mean, really, the griffins those are basically fast travel things that you pay money for.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if you want to get from one spot to another spot really quickly, you just hop on that and they'll fly you there. Okay. So it's not one you own.
And I like the fact that they incorporate it in that similar style. It's like, I need to go to this place. Here's your griffin.
Right.
Take one of my birds.
You know what? Also, what I liked about this movie, what I'm coming to realize, is they actually spent a lot of time on character development for this. Like, a lot of as much as they could, a lot of character and relationship development, because that's what really turned the half-orc, was the queen being a person towards a person and treating them like a person. It wasn't just stupid, cliche story, and it's like, oh, now she's, fighting for the Alliance for her freedom. It's like, okay, she's fighting the Alliance because they're treating her while she was with the Horde, she was treated like shit. Yeah. So, I mean, they actually, they try to be smart with the characters and their development. It was just too much to do.
The nice thing about it was they thought about the characters.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is not what you expect for a game or a movie based off a video game.
How many movies do we watch that don't care about the characters and just want to get to point A to point B?
The last one we reviewed, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I mean...
The fucking one-dimensional characters like that.
Yeah, and we watch so many movies nowadays like that, and for us to be saying that there was character development in a video game movie called World of Warcraft with a heavily CGI cast...
Right.
Blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fact that, like, you're right, you're absolutely right. You hit a nail on the head. Like, it is all about the characters here. Like, as you touched on, the very early scene between the orc and his wife, and his pregnant wife, and they're kind of just sharing a moment and just talking. It's like, this is making this movie work. Little scenes like this makes this movie work.
They definitely had to do that, because you can't, I mean, just based off the video game, you can't have the good side, you can't have the bad side, because in the video game, you play as either side. So you're either playing as Alliance or you're playing as the Horde, and people get, really passionate and fat about it. There's people who have Horde tattoos or Alliance tattoos on them because they play that much. So you can't demonize one side or the other. And so because of that element of the game, they had to treat each side as people. And that really played to the strength of the story.
Yeah, no, 100%. I like that. What else do you want to talk about in spoilers before we go?
I don't know. I don't think there is anything. I mean, I guess the Guardian guy being evil in a sense was predictable. That was a little tropey.
That was that. If we're going to talk about tropes, that was definitely one of the tropes and something I did want to bring up.
Yeah.
The Guardian was very tropey. Like you knew the second that he was there. You knew what was going on with his character.
Right.
A character called the Guardian, someone who protects. It's like, yeah, you let them in. We know. I did like... Well, I didn't know if I liked... It was interesting that he was creating a golem for himself. I wish that never came alive, but it had to for the third act.
Oh, yeah, that's the idea of if you introduce a gun in the first act, it has to be fired by the third act.
Right.
That was the gun.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things. It's like, all right, we need to have an action piece here in the third act against the Guardian. Let's activate the golem, and we'll have our main warrior fighting him, and then we'll have the dopey mage going against. Is it Ben Foster? I feel like that was the cat.
Yeah.
Going against him, and all right, let's go. So, and that was the weakest parts of it.
Yeah. A lot of the things dealing with the magic and everything behind it is the weakest part, because as I think I explained when you did our review of The Last Witch Hunter, is there's like no bounds to magic, and so you can't really constrain anything when it comes to that, because it's just like, oh, it's magic, ooh, doop-a-doop-a-doo, this will happen. And so that when fanciful magic stuff happens like that, I'm kind of taken out because I have no basis of relation to it.
Did he, towards the end of that fight, when he transformed into like a witch or king, was that part of that expansion pack?
I don't fucking know.
I don't either.
I don't know. I didn't pay any of the expansions.
All right. Like, I didn't know if that was supposed to be a nod at one of the things that goes on in World of Warcraft or not. I felt like it did.
No, I maybe, but what was definitely a nod was when the one guard got turned into a sheep.
Okay.
That is a spell that it can happen.
I remember that spell.
So
okay.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, there we go. I get it. That was the little Easter egg for.
I'm sure
players.
There's a bunch of other Easter eggs.
Yeah, probably
for players. I wonder what the general consensus of this movie was.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
I didn't look it up on Rotten Tomatoes like I normally do. I feel like this could be one of those movies that is very split. I feel like this is a movie that,
Like Avatar or something.
yeah, like in terms of, avid players growing up playing WoW for the last, 8, 9 years, are they gonna appreciate this movie, or they're just gonna look at it like, this ain't WoW, and kind of have like that chip on their shoulder and immediately dislike it, or are they gonna be more supportive of it? Like, hey, we finally got a WoW movie. It wasn't that bad.
I think
Because
I'd like to think they're going to be more supportive of it.
The internet's a very fickle place, as we
Yeah.
know, and you have those type of people who just hate on everything.
Right.
So like, oh, this ain't my fucking game. Fuck this movie.
Right.
This is stupid.
And,
And it's very one-dimensional thinking, but on the internet we see that.
right. And in the same sense, like, I did some quick Googling when I got home about the character. I'm like, okay, the main character in this movie is a real character in the World of Warcraft game. Like, it is based off of something. And he has a whole backstory. So I have, not knowing it, not reading the whole backstory, just seeing that there is one, I have to wonder, how much the avid fan base is going to pick apart this backstory, how true it is, and how much they knew what was going to happen with everything as well. If it changed elements of what they know to be the Warcraft lore, and if they were offended by it or what.
Yeah, because you could easily see that offending people. I mean, how many times have we seen backlash on something that offended people?
Yeah, I mean,
Ghostbusters trailer.
Right, but I mean, I would hope that they don't, because I mean, if you look at something like Walking Dead, where it's based off a previous IP with a set storyline that's followed. The show takes many divergent paths from there, but still, I think there's fans of both the comic and the show and appreciate them in their different respects. So I would like to think that the fans of the World of Warcraft game will respect and appreciate any kind of divergent path the movie takes.
I would hope so. I'm going to definitely look on Rotten Tomatoes and take a look and start reading some of these reviews and see what people think about it. But yeah, I don't really have anything else in the spoiler section here.
No, I think we covered it pretty well.
Okay. Well, thanks again for listening, and we'll be talking to you guys soon.
Bye.